And we're back.
Yes, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yes.
Yes, guys. You know how drinky views?
Who's that? Yes, guys.
Oh, Chef Dave, man.
Chef Dave.
Charlie, you know who it is, don't you?
I know who Chef Dave is.
Yeah.
Oh, James. Oh no, oh no, you might do. Do you know? Have you seen that guy who's selling Prime at like 50 quid a bottle?
No.
I saw one selling at 25 quid a bottle.
Yeah, it's like 25 quid a bottle. This like shop guy, this guy who's got this like off license shop up in Wakefield, and he makes like loads of videos. He's jokes. He's like a Chef Dave sort of like weird character kind of guy.
That's outrageous. 50 bob for Prime.
Yeah, mate. Literally, I think some girl had like 6 bottles,
Yeah, I saw
Like,
that. Clearly.
145 quid.
That's daylight robbery.
Mate, it's mad.
But yeah, fuck Chef Dave. Yes, guys, shut up.
Josh,
Go to the gym. Fucking stop being alcoholic pussy hole. Goes
Yeah.
back.
Anyway, on to the episode. Enough about
Yeah,
Chef Dave.
that got so sidetracked so quick.
It really did.
So
that
Josh
was
starting
like- that
to
took
attack Chef
10
Dave.
seconds.
None of that.
Yeah, so we're here with a bit of a motivational mindset topic based today. As you can see, I've got the thinking cap on, aka I had a fucking really bad hair day after all the sweat from leg day, so I was like, my trim is not going on display. So yeah, so we've sort of kind of come to conclusion, obviously, with New Year dawning upon us. The old New Year, new me stereotype is going to be coming into effect very, very soon. So we thought we would kind of like touch a bit on that, but we realize obviously not all of you are like simps, fucking NPCs who go New Year, new me. Obviously, we realize some of you actually have goals you want to set for the new year. It just happens to be obviously in accordance with like time of the year. So yeah, we're gonna break down goal setting, how to do it, and we're gonna give some of our own examples, I think, as well, because with me and James having a conversation last night, I think we're gonna give some of our own examples of how we've manifested our goals and how we've achieved some of the goals that we set out for this year. And then yeah, then we'll kind of see where the pod takes us. So where's a good place to start?
Like-
We start with the goal setting itself. What's the steps to go through to set a goal?
So I'd say with any kind of making any kind of long-lasting change in your life, you need to set on a goal, because without that, it's going to be really difficult. Whether that might be fitness, mindset, career change, you kind of need some kind of, not necessarily end point, but a big stepping stone to reach to.
You need a direction.
Yeah,
You do need a start point and an end point. So without that, those two coordinates is obviously it's going to be hard to navigate obviously where you're going. So in terms of goal setting, I think it's wise to like obviously be ambitious. We like if anyone's going to tell you to be ambitious is us three. Like always, obviously, never underestimate yourself and always shoot for obviously as high as you can. Realistic is also going to be a big factor. Don't set goals you know you're not going to achieve. Like, much as I would love to lift like 500 kilos for reps, I know it's not going to happen. So set goals which are realistic, but also don't put yourself shy. Like don't say, oh, I want to make £10. Be ambitious, but then obviously just find that fine line between being a cunt and overshooting a bit,
yeah.
and being a bit of a pussy and undershooting. So you got to find that nice level between being cunt and pussy.
That's an interesting way to explain it, Josh, but I like it. I like it.
Josh way I've ever explained.
That's the most Josh way ever.
Yeah, but it's true. It's facts.
Yeah, it's facts, mate. Be a cunt or a pussy.
Don't be a pussy. Be in between. All right, Charlie. Wait, it's your turn to sign pitches and madness.
Pitching man. So if you're gonna have this absolute sick cunt goal that you need to try and hit, you like obviously it's great having this like big goal, but you need to have like smaller goals to achieve to get yourself there. So obviously having this big goal is great, but you want to break down that goal and like have like mini goals, like sort of shorter term goals as you've sort of heard them, to sort of get towards, just to make sure you're on the right track, because this big goal that you might like have set, whether it be mindset, business, fitness, whatever it is probably going to be like, it's going to take a long time. So to make sure that you don't fall off track and keep you going, you want to have these smaller goals to keep you like motivated as well as like keep you on the right path.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's important to have like, because if you set these really long-term goals like 12 months, 9 months, if you're not seeing like any return or like feeling any kind of like success, sometimes it's kind of hard to keep your head like on track. So
Mm.
if you set these smaller goals which lead to the bigger goal, one, you're gonna feel accomplished because you're then stepping, okay, step one's complete. Now step two is complete, step three. Let's say it takes 5 steps to get wherever you want to be. Every time you hit a goal, you're like, fuck me, I'm getting closer, and that's just gonna motivate you to work harder and just then get you even more closer to that final goal. So yeah, short term is going to be important, definitely 100%.
Just to add to what you said, like obviously short term, one kind of short term, mid term, and then long term goals. And then you kind of break them down into actionable steps of how you're actually going to obtain those goals. And then that kind of works as an action plan. And then you have a stepping stone along the way to kind of tick off when you get that point. And then you know whether you're on track or if you're not, and maybe you need to change the plan, not necessarily change the goal, and then continue work to that end kind of destination. But the only thing with this as well, say you have that really big, only one like big goal that you're working for, what happens when you get to that point and you've hit that goal? You kind of need to make sure you're not just fixated on that one point, because when you get to there, for example, let me just say my goal is to reach to 20 clients. When I get to 20 clients, what I do is stop coaching. Like, you need to make sure you're continuously making these goals, because when you get there, there's always going to be a new goal to attack.
And that's the reason we say to be ambitious, because like if you set yourself too short, you get to these like 20 like 20 clients, and then James said like it's like, what do you do then? Well, you obviously got to then branch on to the next. So yeah, being ambitious is definitely going to be obviously a good application there. And also just so that way you don't get lost. There's a lot of time, like a good example for me is like when I finished prep, like I've just spent the last 16 weeks every waking moment going to this one day, and then it was done. And obviously, the obvious thing to do is to reverse out. But in your head, you become so lost because I've just set 16 weeks of my life, literally day in day out, to like this one goal. Now it's gone. So it's like, even if you know what the grand goal is, you do start to lose sight. So having not just one, but having multiple goals is probably also a good one as well. So yeah, I'd say a good thing to do is probably set 3 to 5, well, like big targets. Obviously, you have to be careful, obviously, with then time distribution, because obviously if you spread yourself too thin, you're not going to achieve one. That's why I say 3 to 5, depending on obviously what they are. And in that way, not only will, if you complete one goal, then you won't feel lost because you're okay, well, then I've still got, X, Y, and Z, which I still obviously can work towards. And also choosing goals which are like synergistic, so ones that can work and help to each other. So, for example, for me, I know if my training's better, if my nutrition's better, if I know if I'm doing better as a bodybuilder and that reflects on my Instagram, that gets me more followers. So like everything needs to feed into everything if possible. That will also kind of just help you spur you on gaining more momentum, more motivation. Obviously, as you get towards the end of the year, and you get into
I agree.
anything else.
Um, to be honest, not really. I think in terms of like having that action plan that like James was on about, I think that also comes down to like routine as well, and like building a solid routine is going to set you up to like achieve your goals, because like some people have these like big goals, or not even like they're that big, but generally like day to day and like in the moment they're not actually working towards them, and that's why they just don't really achieve it. Whereas like if you set like a solid routine, like right, this time I'm going to do this, or this day of the week even I'm going to do this specifically towards my goal, then that can definitely help you keep you on track. And I think routine's like a massive part of like getting you to like success.
Yeah.
Routine is the base route for anything really.
Yeah.
Base route for time management is the base route for achieving goals. Is the base route for living your life day to day. So yeah, I think so. Now the next point is, okay. So now you're choosing your 3 to 5 big goals. Probably keep them to three, because you said don't want to spread yourself too thin. Then from there, you've then broken down your basically your bullet points in terms of, okay, trying to do your micro goals. So then obviously you then got your small steps to achieve your big step. Once you got that in your head, it's then applying it. So putting it on somewhere. So keeping it. So I know me and James are definitely good for this. It's like vision boards.
Yeah.
And how do you then keep these goals in the forefront of your mind, but also just have a way that is gonna like manifest it? So pushing it, almost like I'm definitely a massive believer, especially after what some things my parents have been through. I'm a massive believer, like, and they've preached me manifesting like my whole life, and that is literally make sure you know what you want. So having a vision board or just a bullet point list on a whiteboard or on a printed out sheet on your to put on your or on your laptop, something that's always going to be in your sight and you see every single day. That way, when you wake up what your plan is.
Yeah, just to add to that, the worst thing people do is like write their goals down, put them on their laptop somewhere, and they just don't read them. If you really want to attain those goals, you need to be reading them every single week and put them as visible as possible. Having it out of sight, out of mind, that's literally how it's going to be. So you need to make sure you're consistently reading them. And a little tip, what I'd suggest, like what I do, I have them in the front of my notebook. So every time I look at my notebook, I tend to read them on like Sundays and then some time like during the week as well. And then that's constantly going to make sure my actions during the week align with those goals. If you're not thinking about those goals constantly, your actions during the week may not align with them, and it's not going to be working towards that point. And another thing that what Josh has said about vision board, my screensaver, well, my lock screen on my phone is literally my vision board. And you know how many times like you look at your phone and that always just like kind of like mental barriers, like yeah, I need to make sure that I want to get to that point.
Yeah, that literally used to be my lock screen as well. It was like a list of like all my goals and things I need to do like daily or weekly towards get my goal. But then I've got a girlfriend, so the lock screen has to change. But I still look at my goals.
You got a lock screen and a home screen, mate. You're gonna have the fucking
Yeah, and to be fair, if you have the new update, you can change your lock screen all the time.
and
Oh,
your missus should be supportive of your goals, lad. So
mate, she is. Don't worry.
I'm sure
Mate,
I can understand you having one of your home screen or your lock screen as your.
you boys are on the home screen.
Hey, yeah, lads.
It's the picture in the lift, the classic.
That's a sick video.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree. I think like even like in training, for example, the front of my logbook, I have like all my lifting goals for the year. So every time I go into my logbook, I see like the lifting goals, etc. And I definitely agree with Josh in terms of like manifestation. Like I think that's a massive part of like goals, and like I think I definitely believe in it. I think it's definitely something to do, and I think it's a big part of like people's success.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I changed like I said when I did my whole like clear out everything. Obviously, when I deleted like my Snapchat, obviously like all that kind of like malarkey. So if you're not sure about that, like um, you can check out my recent YouTube videos coming out. Basically, that kind of breakdown. I break down all the things that I'm be doing basically to tailor my life to my goal for the next year. But one thing was again, debug because in my like Noah is obviously a massive idol in terms of bodybuilding business as well. Like he's becoming one of the most successful people in the fitness industry to ever exist. Like he's got over 10 million fucking followers. He owns a supplement company. He's Olympian. He's got he's got a life, luxurious life, and he's still humble the whole way through. So for me, he's not just like obviously like a bodybuilding like like someone I look up in bodybuilding, but just someone I look to in general in life. So like everything I'm doing right now literally is the same thing. Manifestation, having my goals constantly in my face, like 24/7. Yeah. So now that kind of I think it's a good point now. So now we've done setting the goals. We've done how then to basically put them into the real world. How to physically basically making them physically manifest on a piece of paper, a lock screen, logbook, whatever. Next obvious thing to do is obviously then the application. Having some kind of scheme to make sure maybe like a monthly like sit down with yourself to make sure that what you're doing is working. Sometimes we think like a strategy or a routine is gonna be great, but it doesn't work. And sometimes people think, oh, let me just wait a little bit longer. Let me just wait a little bit longer, and maybe it will start working. If things aren't clicking within a month, usually that's a sign that you need to change things. So making sure that you're constantly being proactive with your routine. I see James about to say something.
No, I will after.
I saw a little light bulb in your noggin, mate. Yeah, making sure that you're doing things on a day-to-day basis and making sure that you're doing self-analysis on a monthly basis to make sure that you are achieving those micro goals. Because I said, like, it's all good if you're saying, oh, maybe next week will be different, next week will be different. every month sit down and have these self-analyzation sessions with yourself. Okay, work. Is business going the way I want it to? Yes, no. No, okay, what am I going to do different this month? Maybe try something new, or what will I know will work better this time? Training and nutrition. Okay, my meal plan, I'm struggling to get my meals in. Why? Okay, maybe I'm not awake for long enough in the day, so that means I need to have a better routine in terms of waking up a little bit earlier and then making sure my meal timing's better. And then it goes with anything, to making sure that you're reviewing yourself constantly to make sure you're on top of yourself and don't let yourself slack and slip. I feel like a lot of people get like super motivated, especially for these like new year, new me people. They get super motivated for like the first maybe like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 6 weeks if you're really lucky, and then the fire just zips out because you're not being honest with yourself and not having these analyzations sessions with yourself to making sure you're staying on track.
Yeah, spot on. Literally nailed it.
Yeah, mate, I know.
Yeah. Just to add what he was
That's
saying.
what when I do the pod sober.
We actually get a good, intelligent Josh for once.
Yeah, I'm too OP if I'm sober. Okay,
to OB.
Yeah, that's why you have to get a bit high.
exactly.
Give me and James a chance, you know.
Exactly.
Just to add to what Josh said as well, if your goal stops, not your goal, if the plan stops working, change the plan, not the goal. Because if you have this vision and this goal that you really want to hit, there's a million different ways and plans of how you can organize your routine, your life to work towards it. And don't get upset if you're not, if it fails. If one of your plan fails, make a new plan. Don't change the goal. Because so many people get disheartened a few times, you fail working towards your goal. Simply change the route you're going down, change the direction, and come up with a new plan. And keep doing that till you find one that works. Like simple as that.
And if it doesn't work, then you do need to change the goal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, what's the saying? You know, like one of those sayings is like, oh, if it, you know, I can't think of a good one, but yeah, basically, if you try and you really have tried, allow, okay, see, this is where you might think I'm not sober. If you have tried all the options and you've gone down all the routes and it's not working, then you might need to not change your goal, but just adjust it.
Yeah. So maybe adjust like the time frame or like the scale of the goal, for example. For example, like James, let's use your one. For example, 20 clients. Say if that's not realistic, either like change the time frame and that you hit that goal, or maybe just bring it down to like 15.
Or just break it down into like 2 goals, like mini goals, like
Yeah.
little things like that.
Right. Okay. I think that's like in terms of then the method behind the madness there. So we've taught you, okay, setting the goals, making the goals physical, and then basically the application and then getting to your goals. And this is just a rinse and repeat process that you're going to be doing throughout your whole life, hopefully, which lead you basically to whether that's business success, bodybuilding success, whatever, life, family, anything. Um, so I think let's go through now and let's talk about.
Sorry.
Okay.
My permission, Charlie. I'm gonna fucking you to the police, mate.
Okay.
So yeah, let's talk about some of our own individual goals that we've had, basically where we've set a goal, we've gone out and we've achieved it using basically the method we've just provided you. So me and James obviously on FaceTime the other night, and so I'll let James go because I know he has one straight off the bat that he can definitely talk about.
Yeah. So at the start of the year, I've got the date up on my screen. So I wrote this down at the in February, the 9th of February, obviously earlier this year, and that was a long-term goal. I put this down was I wanted to move out, and realistically, I didn't think I was going to do that for over a year at least, maybe like 2 years. But I've managed to work towards that goal, and I can successfully say like I've ticked off that goal because obviously I'm in my own place at the moment. But how I've done to work towards that, consistently not work every single day, making sure I'm being smart on my spendings, working towards that goal by working out my weekly budget and all that kind of good stuff, and finding my mate that actually wants to do the same as moving out. So we kind of like teamed up on attacking that goal. And then I've successfully managed to tick that one off, even though that was a very long term goal, which usually doesn't happen. And then like a few other short term goals, I'll give it examples that I wrote down. It's 5 clients per month. That's a short term goal that I can tick off. Another one that I put down, which is quite a cool one, is become a better person and be happy, be a better friend, a better son, a better coach, and the goal of leaving an imprint on the world of doing great things. And I feel like I'm successfully working towards that one massively.
That's fucking.
Mate, that is deep. We're getting deep right now.
Yeah, mate, it's quite sick. I actually did this all at the start of the year as well. I did it all like properly.
That's
But-
mad.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm generally working towards that because at the start I wasn't happy with I was happy, but like not happy with how I was
You
being
were
in a relationship.
thrilled.
Yeah,
Yeah, and look what you've done. You've now achieved what you could probably say you've achieved all these goals, mate. Look at this man.
yeah, exactly. And it's not even like the end of the year yet, so
Exactly. Still got a few weeks left. Go on, boy.
And you said it in February, so technically you've done it in 10 months.
Yeah, I fucking smashed
Oh.
it.
You've done it in 9 months, mate.
Yeah, it's very sick. So that's why it's so like I literally wrote that down in February and I can take that off. That's such a great feeling.
Looking back at that now, how does that not make you feel like twice as motivated as you did before?
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that I actually managed to do that. Like, very weird, but very unreal feeling, as Charlie would say.
Unreal.
An outrageous feeling, as I would say.
Yeah, Josh would say.
Sensational feeling. But yeah, it's good. That's why goals are so important. Like, it's so important.
Exactly, and it's just timelines you and perfectly like brought you now to this point where okay, now he's achieving those goals, and guess what? He's proven to himself he can do goals that even before he wasn't going to do in 9 months, let alone 2 years. Now you're going to set some new goals, aren't you, James?
Yeah, and we go again.
You're going to go again because that's life, mate.
Basically, me and Josh are going to take over the world.
Don't forget about Charlie, bro. Fucking poor Charlie.
Charlie's coming as well.
Bro, don't leave me behind.
Come with as well.
No, thanks. Just because I've got a missus, alright, you don't have to forget about
We don't want to make it too OP if there's 3 of us.
it.
It'll be dangerous.
There you go.
dangerous. Game over.
Game over, some would say.
Fucking
Yeah.
hell, boys. Yeah. So
Oh,
I was gonna say one of my goals this year was to finally hit 1,000 followers on Instagram without being a cunt who just starts just following everyone just for the sake of following everyone. I wanted to like really stay true to like my account that's only follow people with content I want to watch, friends, and I wanted to make sure I maintain that and then still grew my business because a lot of people nowadays on social media you follow them and then if you don't follow you back they're like, oh well fuck you then. It's like you know I wanted to make sure I stayed like true to myself and like I finally hit 1,000 followers.
Go on, boy.
Yeah, so that's been nice. But I'd say like this year has been a bit of a weird one because like my goal this year was just to experience life more. So it wasn't exactly a measurable goal or anything like that. I just wanted to live life to the fullest and also progress my bodybuilding, which I've done. And I'm definitely saying like business wise, I'm definitely doing a lot better now than I was at the start of the year. At the start of the year, I was really struggling to like pay my gym rent and like I was getting to the point where I was struggling to buy supplements and like I was like, fuck, I've got summer coming up, all this shit I want to do, and like I've got no way to do it. So what I did was I stopped saying I literally was not it wasn't before, but I just said yes to everything. I just became a yes man. Client came up, even I had to wake up at fucking 5 a.m. in the morning to go and do it. Said yes. Stay up and then when I have to stay up then the night before till 10 o'clock because I'd have a shift. Yes, like I just stopped. I just basically put my I just kind of what's the way to say it? I just put myself to the side for the future. Like I just was just saying yes to everything just because I was like
Just like living in the moment. And
yeah,
just,
I just want to do all these things, and I know if I want to do these things, I just need to say yes.
yeah.
So I managed to grow my business enough to a point, not crazy enough, but my personal training business enough that I then funded all the stuff I've done this summer. So I funded a trip to Barcelona that holiday. I've done how many crazy like so if we say K9 was a start, so yeah, so
Yeah.
K9, Barcelona, graphics, right on the beach, Electric City, Leeds, and Friction, and yeah, so I've done 8 like
Your
events.
birthday?
Huh?
Your birthday? Do you count that or not?
Yes, yeah, that's not like 9. So
Right.
like I've done so much shit this summer, and I've also been on holiday to the Caribbean. Granted, I didn't pay for that, but I made enough money that I didn't need to like. I was able to take 10 days off work.
Yeah.
Someone who's self-employed because I don't get holiday pay. which I think a lot of people forget. Like as someone self-employed, like anything I'd miss or that, it's on me. I don't. I've got no one to hold my hand or give me like a handout. Like if I absolutely have to, I ask my parents. But like that is like my last resort because that's the last thing I want to do. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be, the controller of life, my life. I don't want to be like that guy who gets silver spoon and gets things handed to him. So I was like, my working class mentality helped me through this.
That's good. You don't want to be a baby.
Exactly, yeah. So like measurable wise, hit 1,000 followers. I experienced life to the fullest. I went on holiday to the Caribbean, went on holiday to Barcelona with my friends. I went to several festivals and like one over the summer. I traveled all over the UK. Like I went up north like 2-3 times. Went down south a few times. Like been to London a few times. Like I just lived. Knowing obviously now that obviously I was going to shut things down for the next year. So it's not measurable in terms of numbers, but in terms of experiences and memories, like I've had the most like incredible summer. Like I'm gonna make an end of year video, kind of like doing like a montage highlights of like everything that's been 2022, to really kind of like really give me that final bit of gratitude for obviously the life I've lived this last year. So I definitely say for me, it's definitely been more of a personal progression versus like a financial business or bodybuilding progression. Because bodybuilding I've still been doing, but it has taken a bit of a backseat this summer.
Yeah. Now that's going to be the forefront of your goals again.
And now my things have switched. Now I'm on my beyond.
Exactly. So it's all part of the master plan, mate.
Exactly.
I don't want to be that guy who's like 30 years old where like, I didn't do anything in my early 20s. Like,
Yeah.
I go nuts.
Literally.
Exactly.
Charlie, anything you've achieved?
So the biggest goal that I had set out, well, this is an example of like how like goals sort of change. Is that I had the biggest goal of this year was to be able to take my coaching to a level that allowed me to quit my like day job. And then at the start of the year, like I was like working towards that, fine. And then it had to change because I became like extremely unhappy, like with where I was at. Like it was just like to the point where I did not want to go to work, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not going to do this anymore," and just like fully sent it into coaching. Like that was not the plan. Like the plan was to work it up to a point where financially I was earning like the same amount, and I'll be like, right, I don't need to carry on doing this job. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. This is just not like good for my mental health or anything. So ended up just leaving, and then my goals very quickly shifted to right, how can I grow this as big as possible, as quickly as possible. So therefore, instead of like gradually like how do I put it, like building the business to like a point where I was like a safe like position, I was thrown in the deep end, so I had no choice but to like work it up and like put everything into it, to get it to a position that I could live like and like buy my food, buy my supplements and everything. Granted, like I'd still live at home, so I don't have to pay like rent or anything like James does. But I still needed, like I wasn't in the position at the start of the year to be able to pay for everything. Like I wasn't. I was only had like a few clients, and then like after all the months of this year, like just each month like grinding it out, trying to like, right, what do I need to grow this? How can I do this? How can I do that? And has eventually got me to a position where I can coach full time. I've had a really good month the last few months, picking up some good clients, and yeah, everything's been like ticking over nicely. And the last few months have probably been the best months of like business wise. So yeah, that has been a massive goal. That's like
That's a huge.
at the start was like just wanted to like be able to leave my job, but then quickly was like, right, let's just build this fucking business and fuck the job off.
That's good. That's class.
Huh?
Fuck the vegetables.
Yeah, fuck the vegetables.
Just
Do you know what? They asked me.
just for reference, Charlie worked in a vegetable shop. That's one.
Yeah, I was a master of vegetables. They asked me the other day if I was able to come back at Christmas and like help them out. Absolutely no chance.
Your online page now. You don't touch vegetables unless you put them in your.
Mate, I've worked 7 Christmases in a row. Do you know how long that is? Fucking want a Christmas off, mate. From doing like 13-hour shifts. I'm not the one.
Yeah, and also I was gonna say another one that probably like me and James has not been able to experience, but you've had obviously personal life, obviously development, and you've got obviously a missus, which is like which is a big thing to find someone like you're compatible with. I think it's definitely like it's one of the things like you can't work hard to like meet people. Like you can't be. It's completely situational. And it's just completely like it's just fate and like but like one of the things like to capitalize on like if you meet someone and you generally have a good connection with them and they're actually a genuine person and you can happily say like we were literally just joking about it earlier, like she contributes towards you and she supports you in your goals, so you can say that's definitely like a box you didn't expect or like it's a goal you didn't expect going into the year to set, but it's one you've achieved anyway.
Yeah, like I did not expect it at all. But like I was always like whenever like I thought about like getting into a relationship with anyone or anything, like there was always like a big thing about like my lifestyle and like my goals, and obviously if they're not gonna fit into that, then you ain't joining, love. See you later. Um, but like literally from the start,
Listen, I feel like bodybuilders and like people like in our position, not necessarily bodybuilders, because James isn't technically a bodybuilder, so like people who are this committed to this kind of lifestyle, we are like undateables. Okay, our pool of candidates is significantly smaller than the average person because we can't always go out for drinks. We can't always eat off plan. Like we can't just go to clubs and like meet people like nights out and stuff. Like our pool of potential candidates is so much more limited because of time, because of our schedules. If it doesn't, if we want to achieve our goals, we can't be fucking slacking off. And then also just because like the lack of understanding. If you're not, it's really hard for someone who's outside of this industry to date in the industry, and vice versa.
yeah. Like I've always said that I don't mind like dating someone outside of the industry as long as they're supportive of my goals. Like that's the only thing. But like luckily, like Anna, like supported me from like day one, literally with everything. Like because she came into my life when I was literally just left my job.
Yeah, I remember.
So she's been from like from the start, from when I was like grafting, like in terms of like right, I need to make this fucking work no matter what, sort of thing. And then obviously she's into like bodybuilding and stuff, and she's into raves as well. So it's pretty much perfect to be honest.
Be the same person.
Literally the same person. Like not really much to moan about really.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, a few things here and there, but there's always something.
okay. Anyway, let's.
She's not moaning normally.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, hey.
I bet you Charlie squeals like a pig.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, enough of that pig stuff. Um, yeah, I think that's a good place then to leave it. We've shown you obviously the methods to madness, and then how we've all applied it to ourselves, whether it's be measurable goals, which James and Charlie have more achieved, or versus maybe goal. Actually, and Charlie obviously had one goal that wasn't technically measurable, but he achieved, and then see with me obviously trying to experience life. Um, yeah, I think it's a good place to leave the pod.
Yeah.
Very good one.
Wholesome episode, actually.
There was some fucking wholesome content there, boys.
Yeah, bros.
I mean, pussy and cunt. I mean,
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
Yeah, basically, if you get past the first 10 minutes, it's actually a really good episode.
yeah. Just stick with it. It's all worth it at the end. Yeah. Right. I think okay. Let's leave it there. So, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment if you have if they said we had Seb leave us a comment for the last episode. If there's anyone else who obviously wants us to talk about anything in particular, leave that in the comment. Dude, tired. Leave it in the comments, and we'll see if it's a decent topic. We'll get around to it. So, yeah, really had fun with this one, boys. So appreciate that.
Yeah, solid.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week in a bit.
Yeah, people.
So.